So even though it was a long time ago, I remember vividly and appreciate that for my bat mitzvah, my mother put together a creative service booklet. And my clergy allowed me to offer readings and chanting and singing to siblings and cousins and friends. Everyone got to participate. After the silent meditation, a few of my closest girlfriends and I sang one of my favorite songs at the time. Like so many of my favorite songs from back then, it was written by Debbie Friedman. This one had a subtle but clear longing for angelic help. Known as the angel's blessing, the lyrics begged, "May our right hand bring us closer to our godliness. May our left hand give us strength to face each day. Before us, may our vision light our paths ahead, and behind us, may well-being heal our way." A modern take on the bedtime Shema, this prayer filled my heart with hope and comfort as it carefully nodded to texts and notions that different angels abound. As I sang and prayed for angels to surround me with wonder, referring to the angel Michael, whose name means "who is like God," or strength, referring to Gabriel, whose name means God's strength, or light, referring to Uriel, whose name means God's light, and comfort, referring to Raphael, whose name means God's healing. I always concluded with the chorus, though, that all around us is Shekhinah, recognizing that all of them serve as a connection to God's presence. I still love this song and this prayer, and even today, many years later, as a modern Reform rabbi, I still believe in angels. In his commentary on the Torah, David Teutsch notes that in Jewish tradition, angels have had a long and varied history. Messengers warning Abraham of Sodom's destruction, the heavenly choir of Isaiah, the Talmud's host of heavenly functionaries, the impersonal forces of medieval philosophy, the spiritual presence of the Kabbalists. The tradition leaves ample room for each generation to understand angels as it will, whether as natural forces or revealing moments in our lives, the divine in people we meet, the manifestations of the goodness in our world, or the inner workings of the human heart. Personally, I love all of these understandings of angels. And yes, when I picture angelic help, I pray for all of them. Though the first explicit mention of angels in the Torah does not come until Genesis 16, when an angel helps save Hagar and Ishmael in the desert. In the Midrash, angels appear from the very, very beginning. There are rabbinic teachings that angels were created on either the second or fifth day of creation. We learn that cherubim with flaming swords guard the gates of Gan Eden. Let's be clear, cherubim here are not chubby little babies with wings and halos. They are these guardians, flaming swords. That an angel tells Abraham and Sarah they'll have a child, and an angel protects that child years later, as we know, stopping Abraham's near sacrifice of him. Angels also appear to Moses and to announce that Samson will be a unique and holy child. And one of the most well-known encounters with angels is read in this week's Torah portion. Hence why I'm telling you all of this. Parashat Vayetze begins with Jacob's journey as he flees from his home. When he gets tired, he decides to make camp for the night, falls asleep, and has a dream. Jacob dreams of a ladder or a stairway that stretches up from the earth to the sky, and there are angels of God ascending and descending the ladder. This is a powerful dream. Now, I know in the light of day, the storylines of our dreams can sound like nonsense, but Jewish tradition assures us our dreaming is much more than that. Judaism is given shape by the writings of the rabbis. The Talmud, our book of rabbinic commentary, which contains both law and legend, is full of speculations and stories about angels and about the importance of dream interpretation. In it, Rav Hista declares that an uninterpreted dream is like an unopened letter. So our rabbis take this dream very seriously and spend quite a bit of time interpreting it. They are not fazed by the angel's existence at all. Rather, it is only the sequence of the dream that is troubling to our commentators. Why does the verse say, Olim v'yoradim, going up and going down? If the angels of God are coming down from the heavens and then returning, it should be the opposite, yoradim v'olim, first going down and then returning back up. I won't get into all of this. That's a sermon for another time. But in accepting angels as reality and skipping directly to conversations about where to find them, Rashi tells us that our Torah portion this week teaches that there are always angels among us. What do we do in 2020? How do we explain otherworldly stories? In a year when it doesn't feel necessarily like angels are all around us, how are we supposed to believe this lesson of Torah? Rabbi David Wolpe says, many of us have turned religious experiences into neurological data. Visions are hysteria, trances mania, and prophecies seizures. However, the belief deeply held and derived from the Talmud is that we are constantly surrounded by invisible forces. Judaism teaches and believes there is more to this life than simply what we see. And though modernity has taught us to be critical and analyze everything we feel and think, there has to be some room for that which we cannot explain. For as I have taught before, I believe there are stories that are true that are not important, and there are stories that are not true, that are more real than any of our other memories. Whether we're talking about angels on a ladder, the parting of the Red Sea, the bush, or the miraculous oil that lasts for 8 days, holy stories may offer immeasurable value. Among the lessons learned is the possibility of believing that we are constantly surrounded by invisible forces, that magic and miracles may exist in our world, that angels may walk among us. We imagine, we hope, we dream, and we feel the spiritual world surrounding us, and at times, maybe even interacting with us. Believing in supernatural can bring us hope. It can illuminate dark times. It can help us connect to the mystery of God and the idea that there are forces in this world which we cannot control or explain. And yes, sometimes that may be frightening, and it may also lead to stories of Dybbuk's and demons that we don't really want to talk about, and it may cause us to question our rational beliefs in favor of faith, hope, and feelings. I know all that, but overall, I believe it's a gift. It's a gift to live in wonder, to believe there is more to life than what it seems at first glance. It's a gift to read about Jacob's dream and begin looking for the angels who may live among us. While angels ultimately have an ancillary role, Judaism remains clear that God alone is the true initiator and arbiter of what happens on earth. They're still wonderful to have part of the story. And Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt notes there's a teaching in Jewish tradition that holds that every blade of grass has an angel which sits over it and whispers, "Grow, grow." If every blade of grass is cheered on by an angel, surely we are too, she writes. Maybe when we offer praise and encouragement to each other, we embody those angels. Maybe qualities like wonder and strength are called angels. Maybe when we cultivate our own wonder, we connect up with the angel of wonder. While no one can say for sure, there may be angels all around us, going up and down as they travel between planes. Maybe Michael is on my right, encouraging my wonder, and Gabriel on my left, fortifying my strength. Uriel is guiding me, lighting my path, and Raphael is behind me, offering comfort and healing. And all of them serve as reminders and connection points that God's presence is all around us. This Shabbat, may we feel that presence and that power surrounding us, and may it help us to have a Shabbat overflowing with shalom.